Welcome to Israel Now News. I'm Rebekah Roberts.
And I'm Yochanan Elrom.
In our top story, Israeli and American forces open joint Operation Epic Fury by eliminating Iran's senior leadership, including Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. U.S. troops are reportedly focusing on destroying Iran's existing infrastructure on the ground, while Israel is targeting its remaining leaders and members of the Revolutionary Guard Corps. Jerusalem is also targeting Iran's ballistic missile systems. Military sites in the country have been leveled, Iran's air defenses have been rendered useless, and its air force was neutralized within just hours of the onset of the war. Israeli and American planes control the skies over Tehran and continue to operate against enemy forces in the radical Islamic Republic. U.S. President Donald Trump warned that the war may last several weeks, and he appealed to the remaining members of the IRGC to lay down their weapons and surrender. Iran retaliated by firing hundreds of ballistic missiles on the Jewish state, leaving the citizens of Israel scrambling for shelter. Yochanan has more on that.
Yes, Rebekah, Israeli civilians have been sheltering in place since the joint American-Israeli Operation Epic Fury against Iran commenced. The fanatic Shiite regime has launched hundreds of ballistic missiles and weaponized drones at Israel. Several people have been killed in the Iranian attacks and hundreds have been wounded. Missile alerts sounded around the clock, prompting Israelis to scramble for shelter. All public activities were canceled, and 130,000 reserve troops have been called up to protect the lone Jewish state in its war against the radical Islamic Republic and its numerous terrorist proxies.
The Hezbollah terror group has officially entered the war, firing missiles and explosive-laden drones on the Jewish state from Lebanon. Before Operation Epic Fury began, Jerusalem warned Beirut that its civilian infrastructure would be targeted if Hezbollah attacked. The Iran-backed terror army possesses an arsenal of over 30,000 advanced missiles with the capability of penetrating deep into Israeli population centers. After Hezbollah attacked Israel, the IDF launched an offensive military operation in Lebanon targeting military infrastructure and terror leaders. The Lebanese government quickly denounced Hezbollah's actions and instructed all military agencies to take immediate measures to prevent any further rocket launches or drone attacks on Israel from Lebanese territory. The IDF said it is prepared for a multi-front scenario, and it will not allow Hezbollah to pose a threat to the state of Israel.
The radical Islamic Republic of Iran also launched attacks on U.S. bases in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Iraq, Jordan, and the United Arab Emirates. The Saudi Foreign Ministry released a statement condemning the blatant and cowardly Iranian attacks in the strongest terms, adding that it will take all necessary measures to defend itself against Iran.
Hundreds of rallies were held around the world in support of Operation Epic Fury to destroy the radical Islamic Republic of Iran. Iranians living in exile gathered to celebrate the death of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and call for democracy in their homeland. Reza Pahlavi, the son of the former Shah and the Crown Prince of Iran, addressed the protesters, saying Operation Epic Fury marks the beginning of the very end of the regime. Pahlavi thanked U.S. President Donald Trump for his act of humanitarian intervention by attacking Iran and decapitating its fanatic theocratic leadership. He addressed the Iranian people, saying moments of destiny lie ahead of us, but the final victory will be forged by our hands. It is we, the people of Iran, who will finish the job in this final battle. The time to return to the streets is near.
U.S. President Donald Trump has stated that he is very disappointed with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer over his delayed support of American strikes on Iran. Trump said Starmer refused the use of the Diego Garcia base in the Chagos Islands for weeks leading up to Operation Epic Fury. The British leader only offered American use of the facility after the outbreak of the war. Trump said the UK should have immediately allowed America to use the strategic facility because Iran, the world's largest state sponsor of terror, is responsible for severe harm to British citizens.
El Al, Israel's airlines, has announced that it will launch rescue flights for stranded Israelis as soon as Israel's airspace is reopened. Israel's Ministry of Transportation ordered the closure of Ben Gurion Airport at the beginning of the war, stranding tens of thousands of Israelis abroad. All commercial flights bound for the Jewish state were canceled, and at least 100,000 Israelis were stuck overseas. El Al, Israel's flagship carrier, released a statement assuring the stranded Israeli citizens that when air traffic resumes, it will commence rescue flights back to Israel.
The United States is operating on a heightened alert for possible Iranian terror attacks on American soil. Last week, an Islamic gunman carrying an Iranian flag opened fire on crowds in Austin, Texas. Authorities expressed concern that Tehran will activate its extensive network of terror cells in the United States to attack the American homeland. Thousands of American Muslims have been radicalized by Islamic clerics aligned with Iran who are preaching an apocalyptic war against America to usher in the 12th Imam, or what Muslims believe is the Islamic Messiah. Mosques throughout the United States have declared that President Trump is the Islamic Antichrist. Muslim clerics called on congregants to prepare for the end of days when they believe that all non-Muslims will be destroyed.
Jerusalem issued a series of warnings that Iran may attack Jewish and Israeli targets abroad. Israel's National Security Council released a statement cautioning Jewish communities around the world to heighten security and take increased precautions. It said the Iranian regime is likely to intensify its efforts to carry out attacks against Israeli and Jewish targets abroad.
It is no surprise that anti-Israel American politicians Zoran Mamdani and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have slammed President Trump for attacking Iran. The Democratic politicians accused Trump of a failed diplomacy in dealing with the radical Islamic regime and perpetrating an illegal war. However, actor and social media influencer Michael Rappaport pointed out that both Cortez and Mamdani remain silent as the mullahs in Iran kill tens of thousands of civilians protesting for democracy.
The United States Embassy in Jerusalem has announced that for the first time it will offer consular services in Judea and Samaria. As part of America's 250th anniversary celebration, the embassy is making an effort to reach Americans all over Israel. Consular offices will provide one-day passport services in several locations throughout the biblical heartland. A spokesperson for the American Embassy confirmed that this is the first time that consular services have been offered in Judea and Samaria. The Israeli Foreign Ministry thanked American Ambassador Mike Huckabee for this historic decision and for his efforts in making relations between Israel and the United States closer and stronger than ever.
Israeli Heritage Minister Amichai Eliyahu has raised the Israeli flag at the ancient Hasmonean site of Mount Sartaba and vowed to reinstate the Hebrew practice of lighting signal fires to announce Rosh Chodesh, the new moon. The ruins of this ancient Israelite hilltop fortress, located between Jerusalem and Beit Shean, have been repeatedly looted and pillaged by Arab antiquities thieves. Eliyahu said, together with the Defense Ministry's archaeology unit, the Israeli Heritage Ministry is establishing a Jewish presence to protect this and other historical sites throughout Judea and Samaria. Mount Sartaba was a key location in a string of hilltop beacon fires used to signal ancient Israelite communities as far away as Babylon of the new Hebrew month. Eliyahu said on the first day of the Hebrew month of Nisan, he will renew the custom of lighting signal fires from Mount Sartaba, conveying the message that the people of Israel have returned to their land and their biblical traditions.
Israeli archaeologists have announced the discovery of a rare half-shekel coin in the Judean desert. Archaeologists surveying caves in the region recently discovered a 2,000-year-old coin with Hebrew inscriptions identifying it as the biblical half-shekel. In the book of Exodus, God commanded Moses to take a census of the people and collect a half-shekel from every Israelite as a mandatory offering. The discovery of this biblical coin in the Judean desert proves that Jews continued to observe this commandment in the land of Israel until after the destruction of the Second Temple.
That concludes the news portion of our show. Stay tuned for Ask the Source with Josh Reinstein.
Hello and welcome to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein. We're here in our beautiful studio in Jerusalem. My guest today is Nina Kramer. She's the author of Heroes of the Fall. Nina, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Heroes of the Fall is a children's book. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yes, it's basically a graphic novel, which is like a comic book, but in a complete story of start to finish. It's part of the series of Three Little Kids, which is three little boys, and how a mother with three little boys how they experience life and how they learn from life and everything around them.
I had the opportunity to read the book. It's great. It's clean fun. It's good, wholesome family values. Why was it important to come out with a book that, is a normal, healthy family dealing with struggles of children?
The basic for my book is twofold. One is about science, like I draw scientific subjects, but I don't just try to teach kids 1, 2, 3. I'm trying to find the story behind the science. So I'm building a story through the science and through real accurate facts, but with a story that they connect and they can understand through real life, through their experiences. So this is number one, which is kind of complicated, like it doesn't exist. It was basically, to my knowledge, the first one that exists out there. And the second is a traditional family with 3 kids and a mom and a dad living in Israel. I don't specifically say it in the book, but it's inside, like in my biography. Traditional, complete, normal family.
Yeah, you're Israeli, and you worked to try to get an agent and then a publisher, and not everyone was excited about a book about a traditional family. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I contacted more than 100 publishers and agents, all the big ones, and everything that I could find, basically, mainly in the United States, but also UK and other Europe. So the problem is that it's difficult to find a publisher, mainly because I'm not in the market, in the traditional publishing market. And second, because so many of the agents, especially, and publishers, are focusing more on people of color, on people of specific backgrounds, and on LGBTQ topics rather than science or traditional family values.
And how did you feel this? Like, how did you know that that was the reason they didn't want to represent the book?
So it's written on their website. It's plain and clear. Like even now, if you go into the website of the agents, you need to read every agent to see if it's for your book. And most of the agents say that are specifically interested in people of color or BIPOC subjects or LGBTQ subjects. So even if you want to, even if you don't have this specific, title on your resume or your story, if you send them, they won't come back to you, or you will get rejected by, it's not of interest of us right now.
These are children books, so why does it matter the color or what the story about? Why don't they take it on the basis of what the book's about?
Exactly, it's really frustrating to get rejected before your actual work. Like you get rejected either of your color or anything around it than your work. And it would be better if I would understand if they read the story and they say, you know what, it's not good enough. I understand. I have work to do. I will do it. I will come back. But you get rejected before they even read the story, before they even see what it is all about.
There was a big indoctrination of children under the Biden administration, but the Trump administration seems to understand this issue and take it on full swing. Do you think things are getting better, or do you still see no change?
I think it will take time because, publishers are, it doesn't come through the government. It's like an independent organism. It's so big. The big five are so big and so slow moving. And I think it might get better, but I think it will take time. Like you see in the movies, right, that people go and they reject the woke DI indoctrination movies that we start having. And slowly they get rejected and I think there is a process of learning and the process of people rejecting it and actually balancing. But I think it's slow. I think it will take some time.
In addition to all these issues, you're also Israeli. You were marking it during the 2-year war where we were fighting for our survival. Were you feeling that maybe because of anti-Semitism also that might have been a reason to try to reject it, or maybe just anti-Zionism, which we know is anti-Semitism?
Well, that's a big issue. And no one specifically says something like this. I know that it's a very careful subject. But if you go personally to pages, to like personal pages of people, of agents, you see more anti-Semitic vibe than I wasn't rejected specifically for this, or at least I didn't know if I am or not. But there is a general feeling of also this.
Nina, there are literally tens of millions of people watching this show. What message do you have for our viewing audience?
Well, I would like very much to ask from parents as a parent myself, to really look and search what their kids are looking and reading and watching. It's literally very important to see what kids learn real values and real lessons. And I would love to be in touch with anyone who really wants to give something of value to their kids.
Thank you, Nina, for being on the show. And thank you for tuning into Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein. Now back to the studio.
And now the truth from Zion.
For years, Israel warned that Tehran was building a worldwide web of spies, cyber units, front companies, and proxy operatives meant to disrupt Israel and its allies far away from the battlefield. That web reaches deep into the United States. In 2011, U.S. authorities exposed an Iranian plot to assassinate the Saudi ambassador in Washington, D.C. The case revealed a regime willing to kill on American soil through a criminal network, complete with wired money, cartel intermediaries, and recorded phone calls. The message was unmistakable. It was murderous tradecraft backed by Iran. The Iranian operative, Mansour Ababsir, later pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Through the decade of 2010, Hezbollah agents quietly mapped potential targets. Ali Kourani was recruited and trained by Hezbollah's Islamic Jihad organization. He spent years surveilling airports, federal buildings, and other sites before his 2019 conviction and 40-year prison sentence. Alexei Saab was trained in explosives in Lebanon. He secretly watched New York landmarks and infrastructure for years, and in 2023 received a 12-year sentence. In late 2024, prosecutors charged an Iranian with ties to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps in an alleged plot to assassinate President-elect Donald Trump. In March 2025, a Manhattan jury convicted 2 men in an Iranian-backed murder-for-hire scheme targeting Iranian-American journalist Masih Alinejad. These cases revealed how operatives live normal lives, hold jobs, and wait under lawful cover until they are activated. Cyber is another critical front. U.S. intelligence warned that Iran-aligned hackers would likely compromise American companies and critical infrastructure, especially firms with ties to Israeli defense and research, through data theft, extortion, and disruption. At the same time, Iran-linked assets threatened to leak stolen emails tied to President Trump's inner circle. This illustrates how influence operations and cybercrime are weaponized. As the war between Iran and Israel escalated into direct exchanges in June 2025, Washington raised its guard. The Department of Homeland Security issued a nationwide bulletin describing a heightened threat environment connected to the conflict. Within days, the FBI shifted agents back to counterterrorism and cyber work in key field offices. The money men were also targeted. In March 2025, the Treasury Department sanctioned a Lebanon-based network supporting Hezbollah's finance team. In mid-May, Washington went after senior Hezbollah officials and facilitators, transferring funds to the terror group. Following the 12-day war, the U.S. uncovered a sprawling oil smuggling network accused of disguising Iranian crude, which led to the sanctioning of a Hezbollah-linked financial entity. Later, the Treasury Department slapped penalties against 22 companies accused of facilitating Iranian oil sales. Each designation freezes assets, cuts channels, and forces Iran's operatives to rebuild under closer scrutiny, providing Israel and the United States time to better prepare. Due to American pressure, Lebanon's central bank barred licensed institutions from any dealings with Al-Qard al-Hassan, the Hezbollah-linked moneylender who handled the group's finances. In August, Europe's E3, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, signaled readiness to reinstate UN sanctions unless Iran returns to serious talks, raising the cost of defiance and aligning European pressure with the U.S.-Israel track. Iran's rulers and their radical Islamist ideology direct sleeper operatives, cyber units, and covert finance into the West. Under President Trump's leadership, America combines public clarity with military, legal, and financial pressure. The result is not the end of the threat, but it narrows the Ayatollah's options. The path forward is clear. Keep exposing networks, keep cutting the money, keep raising the cost of aggression, and keep the faith with the Iranian people who want a normal life and freedom from tyranny. The combination of Israeli resolve and American power has already shifted the playing field. It can keep the danger distant even when the radical Shiite regime in Tehran tries to bring it close. From Jerusalem, this is The Truth from Zion. Up next, shining light from Israel.
God tells Joshua to come to Shiloh, place the tabernacle here. This becomes the center of the 12 tribes. Hi, I'm Eliana, and welcome to Ancient Shiloh. We're about to embark on a journey through time. We're going to be going back 3,500 years in time to the time that this was Israel's first capital. Follow me. For 40 years, the children of Israel were wandering through the desert with Moses leading them. They crossed the Jordan with Joshua ben Nun, enter Israel, and establish Israel's first capital city here in Shiloh. For 369 years, this is the center for the 12 tribes. So how do we know that this is Shiloh? When an archaeologist comes to an ancient biblical site, they have a dream to find three things: a reference in the Bible, an inscription, and the preservation of the ancient Hebrew name. Here we found all three. Let's look at the verse in the Bible. In the book of Judges, chapter 21, verse 19. ויאמרו הנה חג השם בשילה מימים ימימה, and there was the festival of the Lord from year to year in Shiloh, אשר מצפונה לבית אל, which was north of בית אל, מזרחה השמש למסילה העולה מבית אל שכמה, east of the highway that goes from Bethel to Shechem, and on the south of Livonah. The highway we see today, the modern Highway 60, is in the exact same location as the ancient biblical highway. So that's how we know that this is Shiloh. But what's really significant about Shiloh is that the tabernacle stood here just beneath us. The tabernacle was a portable temple for the 40 years in the desert, and here it's a semi-permanent structure. Here for almost 400 years, this is where the children of Israel congregated 3 times a year and was the center for the 12 tribes. Walking through ancient Shiloh, you can feel the history. If you stand here long enough, they say that you can still smell the incense from the time of the tabernacle. I'm holding 3,500 years of history in the palms of my hand. These are pieces of pottery that belong to Jewish families that came here 3 times a year when this was Israel's capital and the site of the tabernacle. They'd offer their offerings and break the dishes. We found hundreds of pieces of pottery in our backyard, just behind me, over here. We live overlooking the site of the tabernacle. Every time I come here, every time I pick up these pieces of the pottery, it's truly exciting. If you're familiar with the story of Hannah from the book of Samuel, then you'll realize that this is where prayer began. Hannah stood here 3,500 years ago and spoke to God. Eli, the high priest, had no idea what she was doing because before that time, people would come to offer sacrifices. There was no prayer. She's granted with a child, Samuel, who grows up here in the Mishkan, here in the tabernacle, becomes a prophet, will later anoint King David and build Jerusalem. In addition to exploring the archaeology in this site, we have this beautiful museum. There's a great movie that tells the story of the biblical site. We have a beautiful picnic area. There's a gift shop. I think it's the most beautiful gift shop in Israel with unique and special gifts. They all have to do with the Mishkan, with the tabernacle, Shiloh, and Hannah. If you have more time and like to explore our beautiful region, the region of Binyamin, the Benjamin Regional Council, you can hop into an ATV, drive through the gorgeous vineyards, stop off for a swim in one of our beautiful springs, and continue on bike or hiking through the mountains. We hope to see you soon here in Shiloh and in the Binyamin region. We're waiting for you.
That's all for this edition of Israel Now News. I'm Rebekah Roberts.
And I'm Yochanan Elrom, reporting from our studio in Jerusalem. Join us again next week for all of your Israel updates.